All right. And what is going on, everybody? This is the Mind Alvarez, aka Mr. Soul of a Man 504. And welcome to the inaugural Soulful Conversations. And today I have an amazing guest, Miss Alyssa Michelle. She's a poet, she's a spoken word artist, she's an actress, she's just an all around creative, man. And I just want to thank her so much for joining me. So would you like to introduce yourself to the audience, ma'am?
Yes. Hi, my name is Alyssa Michelle. I'm 31. I currently live upstate New York. I've been writing for about 15 years now. I've taken my writing to the next level. I've done some spoken word. I've been in open mics. I've done a few shows. And I also have my own book that I self-published in November, which is out right now on Amazon.
Okay, and so the name of the book is Growing Pains, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's here it is, Growing Pains.
Okay, and
It's
so like
9.99 on
okay, and as far as your book goes, what naturally inspired you to want to write the book?
my journey of growth. There have been so many different stages of my growth that I felt like I needed to write about it. There are so many different things that I've learned. There are so many lessons that I've gotten out of, the failures that I've faced. So I feel like I needed to share it because there could be somebody else who could relate to me and get something out of it.
Right, and that's interesting. That's something that I find also is like our gifts make way for us, and and also it's so much bigger than us, and we never know by having the courage just to share our dreams, our passions, and our goals with the world that we get a chance to inspire so many different people along the way. So being so creative and being so multidimensional and being just so talented, how do you how do you like what do you put first? Do you put yourself first as a writer, as an artist, or as a poet, or do you just combine everything and just give everybody like that total package?
I combine everything because in order to tell a story, you have to be the person in the story. So I just place myself as the healer, the person who is healing themselves, the person who is sharing their story as a writer, as a poet, and just as a regular person. I go through things just like anyone else does. So I wanted to share my views on my life.
And where did your writing? Do you remember? Because I remember like the first poem I ever wrote. Do you remember like the first time you wrote your first poem?
Yeah, I kind of cringe a little bit because the first poem I wrote wasn't too good.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was a teenager, I used to write sermonettes for church. So that inspired me to want to do poetry. And the first poem that I did write was just a bunch of words that made no sense. They just rhymed together. So I just kind of grew from that. I was trying to test out my rhyming skills. It wasn't anything serious at the time.
And as far as as far as you being like a writer and a dreamer, where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself going from here? Or what would you like to see yourself going from here?
Definitely more books. There's so many things that I want to get out there and write about my experiences. I want to also speak to other people or specifically women who have gone through what I've gone through because when you have gone through, you know, situations like domestic violence, when you don't know who to reach out to, a person reading your book, a person looking at a quote, a person watching you doing videos is a bit more inspiring. Not everyone likes to read books, so I have to come up with creative ways to get my message out to people.
And is that a part of you being like so fearless as far as just wanting to share your talents with the world, as far as just dealing with the different topics because you're so layered, you're so talented, and you're so like multi-dimensional. Like, is that like a part of that yearning to just like get it all out there?
Definitely. I have a passion. I've always had a passion to want to help people, but I didn't know how. So the way that I'm approaching it is using my gift that I do have to help other people. I'm helping myself because I'm healing myself as I write. I'm healing myself as I do the spoken word. But I could also be helping somebody who I don't even know through this poetry and through this passion of mine and through sharing my truth with others.
So and that goes into something else, like using the gift that you have to not only because it's there. I find now right, it's therapeutic. You know, it's really therapeutic to help not only to get all of your emotions out, the stuff that you have bottled, and a lot of people, I find have a difficulty doing that, and it's like, with you, like how do you find yourself just like doing that so effortlessly?
It's tough because you have to become vulnerable. So when you want to help other people, they're going to try and, ask you, okay, well, have you been through this? Well, if you haven't been through something, it's hard to help somebody because you're not in their shoes. It's easier to help someone when you've gone through the hurt and the pain and the challenges and the struggle because you experienced it yourself. So you have to be open and honest with sharing those those very trying times where it was maybe embarrassing, it was painful, because it helps somebody else loosen up a little bit. So I've become a little bit more vulnerable with sharing my journey, because how can you help somebody else if you're not willing to be honest and open?
True. I think like it's almost like in a sense being a painter, and it's like when you a painter paints, they're like painting the soul. Same thing with a writer, or a singer. Like when they're singing from their soul, or you're naturally writing from your soul. So and it's great, to have yourself as an artist be so authentic because you see, like when you look at the realm of just creatives out there in the mainstream. Everything just seems so plastic. Everything seems so, not saying that these people aren't talented, but it's just kind of refreshing to meet somebody who's like I said, so multidimensional and just just so who is somebody who's just so creative and somebody who's just talented and you're going to be able to definitely just go out and share your gifts and just to help change and to shape your world. And can you like get more into a little bit as far as how you feel like your words are powerful and how you feel like you can use those words to help people to help them to just to get on track with get away from their fears and their doubts and their anxieties.
So I use my words to build people up. People are unaware, we as people are very unaware of how powerful our words are. And when I write, I'm writing from my perspective, I write from other people's perspective, I write about all the emotions that I felt at that time, about whatever it is, that I'm specifically writing about. Because some people have shut off that part of themselves that they're afraid to face. So then I emulate that emotion, that hurt, that pain, that joy, that love. And then once that comes to life, I feel as though, okay, I've done something great because I've just painted a picture, like you said.
Hmm. So as as a poet, as a writer, who were some of the writers, so who were some of the poets that inspired you growing up, and even in today, just to continue to push So to say like, you know what, I want to get to that level, and I want to get to that level and go higher.
Definitely Maya Angelou. She's the number one poet activist that I've always been inspired by because she is a poet, but she's not also just a poet or a writer or an author. She is someone who is an inspiration to all women, especially African American women, as I am, because she shares a message. She's was speaking at one time. I used to read a little bit of poetry in school. I did like Langston Hughes. There's a lot of African American poets that I always looked up to, but mainly Maya Angelou because she something about her, her aura, her energy that was so authentic and honest that I felt as though it inspired me to want to share my life and my story with other people.
Yeah, she was just amazing. She was history personified, and when we've it just feels like we've just been losing so many great people. But my a
Mhm.
karate master once told me, like the dragon has many heads. Once one is cut off, another shall grow. So, and it looks like you're like that phoenix. It's like you're up next. In a sense. And do you feel like you have any pressure on you, or do you feel like you just kind of grow you kind of grow like that rose that kind of grew from the concrete, like you being from New York.
So I do believe the only pressure that I have is me facing myself. I
Hmm.
think that if anybody wants to grow, you have to face yourself. It's really not about anybody else because everyone's perception of difficulty and trial and tribulation is different. So you have to look at yourself, what you've been through. You have to figure out how you want to go to the next level by changing yourself. So that's the only challenge that I've had was facing my fears, facing my weaknesses, because that's the only way that you can grow and go to the next level. Um, I have gone through certain issues where I didn't think that it was possible to get out of it because I felt so alone and I felt like I wasn't understood. So that pushed me to want to share my story even more because I wanted to prove everyone wrong. I wanted to prove that I could be the rose that grew from the concrete. I wanted to prove that I don't have to be the the outcome of what I grew out of. I'm not who my struggle. I'm not the struggle that I came out of. Like your current circumstances don't define you basically.
There you
So
go.
I wanted to prove
Okay.
that out of all the chaos that I've been through in my life, that I can rise higher out of it like the phoenix.
Right. And and although we love our ancestors, we love we love those that the like you said, the Langston Hugheses and the Maya Angelou's and those that came in the Harlem Renaissance, which really inspired me in the 20s and all of that good stuff. But it's like like you have to be the first, Alyssa Michelle, even though we stand on the shoulders of giants. And you're like, sometimes I'm like, how in the world can I, you know what I'm saying? And it's like not wanting to put like like you said, any extra pressure on yourself. But the only thing that you can be is just authentically yourself, and just really just going for it. And, that's what that's what I try to do. So as far as your, how did you get into the play that you did in 2000 in 2014? I think it's
So,
called Unspoken Awareness.
unspoken word.
Yeah.
So I had been told by a friend of mine that they were doing auditions for a poetry play. So when I heard about it, I was like, okay, well, I got to do this. Now, when I actually went to the audition, I wasn't planning to get anything out of it really. I was just like, okay, let's see where this goes. I wasn't like intending to fail or succeed. I just wanted to give it a shot. So I just went, I auditioned, I recited a poem of mine that was similar to suicide awareness. That was the topic. So when I auditioned, they really liked me. I was really nervous at the time because I wasn't so used to being so open and sharing and speaking in front of people because I'm so introverted. So I was like super nervous. But after I got through it, they did reach back out to me maybe a week or so later, and they're like, "We want you to be involved in our play." And I was so excited because even though it wasn't like superstar status, it was a step forward for me. It was a moment of opportunity to shine, not even to shine, but to share my art, my work, and my word with other people who like poetry, who like do things like that. So after the initial, you made it, it was, going through rehearsals and everything, and I actually wrote for my own part in the play. We all wrote for our own parts. So it was a great experience because that was my first time actually being in front of a big audience, and sharing my work, which was so authentic because no one else changed it. It was just me writing.
Yeah, and I think that was probably a big part of it, just them letting you inject a part of yours, like naturally yourself into the lines that like the lines that you were going to say in front of those, just in front of those audiences. So do you see yourself like writing scripts? Or do you see yourself doing any other acting in the near future?
I would be interested in it. I like to test my strengths when it comes to writing, not only writing, but my own personal strengths, because I feel like that's how you get stronger. I can see myself being on talk shows. I can see myself being in like little skits. I definitely would not be against it. It would be something that I want to work with somebody to improve my skills with. But I see myself being in like different arenas of like show business. And I feel like me being so open minded to these opportunities will get me very far.
Hmm. Yeah, you definitely have a script like inside of you about poetry that needs to be written, and I think you feel it. It needs to come out. It feels like as a writer, it feels like so it's like different in the creative. It feels like you have all of these voices inside of you that come out, and they come out as like all of these characters. And like you said, sometimes when you're acting or writing, you're able to inject part of yourself, as far as just creating like these different like amazing characters. So when you're doing your spoken word, and it's like lights, camera, action, and like you said, you're introverted. So it's like, how are you just able to, how, because everybody, a lot of people have that fear of public speaking, especially because growing up, I was so freaking introverted. Like doing this, you probably like, come on, Demond, I know you weren't, but doing, but doing, it took a long time for me to get here. Like seriously, a long time. But anyway, how are you just able when it's like showtime and you just able to just turn it on like that?
So it's like me switching to that other persona. I say, everybody knows me as the quiet person. So when I'm on the stage, it's like, okay, say what you have to say. Make them feel how you feel. Make them understand. Have them connect with you. So it's more of, okay, I'm introverted every single day. Most of the time, I don't want to really talk to anybody. If I do talk to someone, it's because I feel a deep connection. So when I'm getting on stage, I want to have the audience connect with me as the speaker and as the writer. I feel like I'm not just a person, I'm a messenger. I'm not just the artist, like I'm the preacher. So I feel like I actually have a message to share. And it's like I have to put power into what I'm saying, because it's like once you put power into it, you definitely have an effect on who's actually paying attention. So that's how I get to switch that light switch, because I'm not just Alyssa. I'm the speaker, the artist, um, the spoken word person, the person that everyone is looking at for inspiration.
Yeah, it's almost like, now you see all these movies with the superheroes. So it's almost like, it's almost like snapping your fingers and putting like your superhero costume on and going out and like fighting a good fight and, just helping to bring awareness and helping to change and shift the world. Speaking of the world changing, like how are you dealing with everything as far as having to be like, safe at home and the self quarantining and and all of that stuff.
So it's not any different than my normal routine,
Yeah.
because usually on an everyday basis, if I have to go to work, I just go to work. If I have to run errands, I run errands and I come home. So I really don't do much of anything because I am so introverted.
Hmm.
So it's not that much different. I've been able to use this time that I'm actually home to focus on my next book. I've used this time to think about things that I want to talk about when I post videos on my poetry page. It's given me some time to really reevaluate different areas of my life that I want to become stronger in. So I've actually had more time to do the inner work on working on Alyssa, the poet, the person, the mother. I've also been using this time to work on, you know, getting a stronger bond with my kids, because they're here now. So they're not at school. I'm not working. When you're working, you're so distracted because once you come home, you're exhausted. So you
Right.
just want to get the kids to bed. You want to make sure that everything is done, but it's like you don't really spend quality time trying to do things that actually matter.
Right. And that's, like in my videos, I've been telling people, just to try to enjoy this time, while you have it, because, things are shifting and things are changing. And, we're going to come out of this. A lot of us are going to come out of this greater. And it's just, like you said, it's really using the time that you have to bond with your kids, to hone your gifts and your crafts and, just to build your business and, just to get yourself, just to use this time because, the earth is healing. We're healing, like you said, the 9 and 5 hustle and bustle. When you get home, you like shower, you eat, you get the kids done, the homework, and you crash in the bed, you get up and you do it all over again. So,
Right.
it's allowing people to just like kind of open up their eyes and realize and, just give them like some different options that they've been needed because a lot of people things needed it needed to happen and people needed this quiet time at this moment. So looking more at your journey as far as like can you speak about dealing more like with the church and how that did that help you to grow as an artist in any sense of the form?
Absolutely. I feel like that was like the seed that had been planted. Even though I don't go to church like I used to when I was younger, I
Mm.
feel like it gave me the opportunity to be myself authentically. Um, I have like, when you have such a high calling, certain people can see it when you are young. It's something, only certain people will see it in you. So when those people see it, a lot of them give you the opportunity to let that light shine. So ever since I've had that opportunity to write little small sermonettes, or on like youth Sundays, I would share poems, even though I cringe at them when I read them now. Back then, like, it meant so much to me because I felt like I mattered. I felt like people were listening to me, even though some kids would laugh at me. I felt like what I had to say at that very moment was important. So that stayed with me throughout my childhood into my adulthood. And I feel like because of that, I didn't let that talent die. I didn't let that fire burn out because it's something inside me that I can't let go of, you know? So it's definitely been something that I appreciate even until this day.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, like that, like you definitely have that phoenix spirit. It's like even when you don't want to write or whatever, it's like a calling that you have, and you always find yourself either at a computer or with a pen or having these ideas, maybe in the middle of the night, you got to wake up and write it down. you know,
Right, right.
yeah, I know that journey very well. So, do you ever see yourself like maybe going like as far as, writing books? Do you ever see yourself writing like any other genres, maybe like beyond poetry?
So I'm really good with romantic topics.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a few. I've done one erotic poem, which was really good. And then I've done a few love poems. Now, when I first started writing, when my writing got better when I was a teenager, I did write like a lot of heartbreak poems, but I kind of wanted to not just be the person that's always hurt and heartbroken. I wanted to spread my writing out a bit. I wanted to talk about love, pain, hurt, dealing with family issues, dealing with depression, dealing with, you know, things that you have a hard time expressing because you're afraid to be so vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So spirituality, finding yourself, there's just so many things that I would want to write about because I'm so versatile. I don't want to just be, you know, one type of writer. There's just so many things that I feel need to be spoken about.
Right. And I think sometimes that can be like, for me, that can be like, I try not to say a curse, but, when you're so like multi-talented and so later, sometimes I just find myself all over the place. Like, okay, I want to do this and I need to work on this book and, okay, well, let me write this poem right quick. you know?
Right, right.
Yeah, it's like,
A big
it's
one
like,
right now.
yeah, it's almost like sometimes it's like almost like being a kid in a candy store. Your kid walks in a candy store and they just see, you just like, hey, get whatever you want, and they're just sitting there like, just with their mouth wide open. So like not
Right.
necessarily knowing like where to go or where to go next. So do you think like being from like that, you like being from that New York area, which is so immersed with like so much diverse talent, from poetry to hip hop to acting, do you think that's played a major role in who you like as far as your talent level and as far as like where you're going or where you perceive yourself to go in the near future?
Um, it plays a small role in it.
Mhm.
I feel like the music that I was influenced by, like Tupac, like the poetic part of
Yeah.
his personality pushed me through. But it wasn't more of like the culture. It
Hmm.
was more of my struggle
uh,
as a person.
okay.
Yeah. So I feel like my struggle was something that I wanted to share because of maybe the types of music that I listened to, maybe the hip hop or the writers. It was like a combination. It like flowetry. I used to like to listen to flowetry. So a lot of the music that I did listen to influenced how I wanted to, you know, perceive myself as a poet. Um, Watching like videos and stuff on YouTube, it inspired me because I'm like, I could do that. I want to share my message. So that's what kind of pushed me to want to be like, okay, this is me on stage. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to emulate as a writer as well.
Right. It's almost like, it's almost like having a creative mind. You're able to like create this imaginary world, and then like maybe months or years later you find yourself stepping into that world. It's almost like the real deja vu kind of, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like I
right.
feel like, yeah, it's like wow, then you actually are like, man, this just feels so natural, and you just, then even though you're still learning, you're still growing, but you're able to do it like so effortlessly. So how has your like since how has your spiritual growth helped you, not only just as a creative being, but just as an artist also.
I definitely have gone through like a few spiritual awakenings. It's like once you're honest with who you are authentically, you go up another level in your spiritual journey because you're no longer stagnant. Like when you refuse to allow all these things to keep you down, it's like you're determined to rise. So I use all of these struggles to like grow in a sense. It frustrates me when I want to grow and I can't because I have to face a challenge. Like I'm ready to, okay, well, I want to go to this level. But then the universe says, no, 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 you cannot go up to this level until you face whatever it is that's blocking you from moving up into your journey. And I'm like, no, can I just move on without facing this, please? And like, no, you want to be this great and you want to be this high and you want to emulate this power, you have to face this hurt and this pain and your fears in order to be the speaker, in order to heal other people. That's like the most dreadful part of my spiritual journey because when you are healing or growing, it is not, oh yeah, I'm doing so well. It's like, you know what? The universe is teaching me a lesson right now, and I just have to go with it. Because if I don't, I'm not going to be the great speaker. I'm not going to be the great writer. It's like you have to look at yourself in the mirror. So that's the realest part of my spiritual growth that I've continued to learn constantly, that it doesn't stop. Growth does not stop.
Hmm.
The quote that sticks out to me is every next level of your life will demand a different version of you. So it's like I'm facing all these obstacles because I want to move up in my spiritual journey as well.
It's almost like walking. It's almost like walking in your truth, but you need to, it's like the hills and the valleys. You need to have actions behind your words. Wanting it is one thing, but when you have to truly like grab that sword and face your demons, like you said, you are, when you look at yourself in the mirror, doing your own shadow work, it's like you are your biggest competition and obstacles. A lot of it is just that innate, we always just want to like put the cheat codes in and just shoot to the end. You know what I mean?
Right,
But yeah,
right.
and sometimes, we have to, we naturally have to put the work in, and it's like just climbing, it's almost like speaking to your mountain. So if you're like, if you feel like you can't climb it, you have to have enough power to be able to split the mountain so you can just walk straight through it or go around it or however it is you feel like, you need to do it, in that moment. And can you can you give like some words of inspiration to out there to anybody who feels like they're stuck or they feel like they want to use their gifts, to really help people, and they don't have like, now we're in a social media age and they don't have a billion followers like the other people and whatever. So can you just kind of give them some words of encouragement?
Definitely. So what's helped me is my passion for definitely wanting to help other people, but coming from an aspect of how I wanted someone to help me. So when I felt like I did not have a lot of people in my corner, I was definitely discouraged, but I took a different avenue. Um, never, definitely never give up, because you have to become persistent. There's always going to be some type of failure along the way, because you're just learning. Always be open to learning. Always be open to trying new things, being open-minded, trying to connect with your audience, because not everybody is going to connect with a poem that you put out, with an inspirational quote, with a video. So you have to approach it from different angles, and definitely be authentic. Don't just do things because you think a person will like it. Do things because you are passionate and you've gone through it from experience. Um, those are the biggest things that have helped me. Also, do not surround yourself with people who doubt you. I had to let go of a lot of people because of their negative minds, because they perceive me as a quiet, introverted person. So they doubted my ability to get as far as I have gotten. And when I got to accomplish a goal, there was a lot of envy and jealousy. So you're going to lose some friends along the way. If you don't, that means you have a solid team behind you. But in my case, unfortunately, I've had to distance myself because they were uncomfortable with the growth that I had at the time and still have right now.
And it's, like, again, and people are, yeah, people put you in this little box and they think like, oh, well, you're the quiet person, blah, 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 from, 20 years ago. And then when they see you now, they see the wings, they see you flying, they see you with the eagle vision. They see you not just being able to, talk to talk or walk to walk, just walk into a room like you own it, and they walk in there, their knees are shaking and their voice is trembling, and like
Right.
going through like they're going through their own internal earthquake. But it's like you have this, not to say that you're not scared, but whatever it is, you have that fear that you use as fuel for the fire. And, like that phoenix, the phoenix rises above and you just keep, it's like you just keep moving towards, exactly, exactly what it is. So finally, like in wrapping this up, can you give people like your social media where they can find you and, and all of that good stuff?
Definitely. So my poetry page on Facebook is Alyssa Michelle Poetry. My personal page is Poetress Alyssa Michelle, and my Instagram is poetress underscore a underscore Michelle. I've also started a YouTube channel. My audience is growing, so I'm trying to get some people to be more engaged in that as well. My YouTube channel is Alyssa Michelle Poetry.
Yeah, and that's the thing with social media, because Lord, there's so much, and it's trying to balance it all. There's Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and now there's TikTok. you know,
Right.
yeah, and it's like, what? I'm just not doing the TikTok. Y'all can have that.
No.
Yeah. So like what I feel like wherever your bread and butter your audience is, where you find like, okay, I can do this, this and that, that's where you'll find like your growth with social media. And and like you said, like when you're it's like when you're moving, you have these people around you that, the doubters and the haters and people who you might have perceived to be a little friendly and who you thought were your friends, but people's true colors come out eventually. Do something. I dare, like I dare people to watch. Go and do something different. Do something that's on your heart and your mind. Go out there and be the person that you were destined to be. And see those people around you start getting envious and start getting jealous and trying to start speaking negative. Oh man, I didn't think, I always, they will say stuff like, I just saw you as. And like I
Right.
said, it's just putting you in this small, tiny little box when the world and the universe is my playground, and they just don't get it, and they just don't, they don't understand that your ancestors are saying like, fly, butterfly, fly, flap your wings,
Exactly.
yeah, use that, soar to the heights of an eagle, where they cannot reach you and they cannot touch you, and have the flames of the phoenix. So when it gets hot, they're gonna move, or they're gonna run, or they can't handle what you're putting out there. But hey, we have a guest. We're live, people. But yeah, so I just wanna thank you. I just want to thank you so much, and y'all can find me everything SoulLoverman 504 it's SoulLoverman504.com, SoulLoverman504 on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, Demond Alvarez, and Soulful Tarot 504 on Instagram also. But yeah, I just want to thank you so much for me doing for helping me to do this amazing interview. This was awesome, man. This went way better than I expected. Like seriously.
No, thank you.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Alyssa Michelle, and again, I am Demond Alvarez and Mr. Sullivan 504. And as always, folks, we out of this piece. Peace.